a young kid playing at like 4 and 5, and kind of where the ball's a magnet. And ever since there, I just started watching a lot of soccer and just fell in love with it.
What were your first thoughts when you heard that New York City wanted you?
How you doing, Tony? What's going on, man?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, man. How's it going? How you been?
I've been good. It's been tough being in quarantine, but I mean, I'm sure that's how it's been for everybody else. But just trying to take it day by day.
Yeah. Are you in? You just in New York?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Nice. And they've been. Have they sent you a plan that you've had to kind of stick to while you've all been off?
Yeah, I think at the beginning they didn't realize how long it was going to be. So maybe for like a week or so, we were kind of just doing things on our own. But when the social restrictions kind of lasted for a month, then they sent us like week by week workout plans for us to do.
Have you been allowed to go back in yet? I know that the MLS just opened back up recently.
Yeah, no, we haven't because New York still has state restrictions.
Right.
So they're not allowing us back in the facility.
Dang. So it's so. I mean, chatting to multiple people this week, it's just so unexpected and like different for everybody. It's so hard to know how to kind of cope with it, but you just got to sort of roll with the punches, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have a couple of friends still from Orlando, and I've been talking with them, and they're like super excited to be back in the facility and kind of just being able to touch a soccer ball, and like we're still stuck in quarantine over here.
Yeah. What kind of things have you been doing? Has there been a lot of kind of core stuff, or have you been, getting out? Have you got a ball that you've been working with as well? I'm sure.
Yeah. I have a couple of balls that I have in the garage. So I actually have a roommate who's a strength coach, so he kind of set up the gym for us here in the garage.
Oh, perfect.
So I've been lucky enough to have that working out and stuff, and kind of just getting touches on the ball
Nice,
when I can. Yeah.
Cool. So what we'll do with this kind of chat is we'll sort of go through your story, the ups and downs you've had in your career, and then we'll kind of open the floor up to questions for anyone watching who wants to sort of ask, an MLS player, whatever they want to ask, really. So for those of you that don't know, Tony's playing New York City FC right now. Previously played at Orlando in the MLS and Orlando City B, and you've had other clubs as well on your path to the MLS. Just talk us. We'll start kind of. Let's start kind of just before college, kind of your club career and how you got to Tulsa, and then talk us through kind of how the 4 years went there, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. I grew up in Houston, Texas, so I played with the Texans down there since I was like 12 or 13, same club.
Yeah.
When I was around like 16 or 17, that's when the development academy started.
Okay.
So I was able to play in that league for I think my last 2 years before I went to college. So we were able to like travel the country, do a couple of showcases, and that's where I was seen by University of Tulsa.
Right.
Ended up going there, played full 4 years there. Went really well. Won the conference championship a couple of times. It was definitely an experience. I mean, we can get into that later.
Yeah.
But played there for 4 years, and then actually played during the summers with Austin Aztex.
Yeah, that's
USL
what I was going to say. You played. So that was in the PDL though, right? So like their second team.
Yeah, that was in the PDL. So that was kind of like the summer playing that I did for like 3 years.
Right.
There, and then funny enough, when I was going to graduate, the PDL team in Austin was going to become a USL team.
Okay.
And so that was like an option right off the bat for when I was graduating to continue my career and play professionally.
Right. Because they already knew you from the 3 years you've been playing.
Yeah, and they kept a couple of us on to play USL. So the coach reached out to me and said that they were interested, and I actually got hurt on a showcase that I went out to. I think it was like the Seattle Sounders showcase in Vegas that they hold every year. Went out there, first game I played, fractured my collarbone. So I was out for 6 weeks.
Oh,
so I didn't make it to MLS Combine. So that opportunity was out there, and so the Austin coach reached out and was like, "Hey, I understand the situation you're in. Like, I know you want to play in the MLS, but if you want to come play in Austin."
This was after Tulsa, after you just graduated?
Oh, yeah, this was
I thought
after
you
my
did go
last
through
year.
the draft, so you didn't go to the draft?
No, I didn't go to the MLS Combine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because of an injury, though, really?
Yeah, because of an injury.
I've gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
and
you
then,
must have been quite worried at the time, sort of, I'm injured, what am I going to do?
Oh, yeah, and especially I think when I was coming out of college, USL wasn't that big of a league yet.
Right.
And so I didn't want to play in USL. Like, I wanted to go straight to MLS, and so that was definitely a downer being injured. Yeah. And so the Austin coach offered me a contract and was like, "Look, this is I guess not security, but like this is for sure you can come play in USL, like develop and then go to MLS.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm thinking like I want to go straight MLS. Like I know I'm
Yeah.
good enough to play there and all that stuff. And so that was
Right.
definitely a step back I had to take and maybe go a different route into the MLS.
Yeah, something that you weren't maybe expecting when you kind of finished. You're thinking, I'm going to the MLS, and then it's important to kind of have those things, though. You know, you weren't expecting to be injured, and then, but a blessing in disguise maybe that, you know, you'd built those relationships where the coach wanted to give you it's a pro contract, you know,
Yeah,
at the end of the day. So, and all you can really ask for is a foot in the door.
yeah, for sure. I think
yeah, go ahead.
it was definitely a humbling experience
Yeah.
because maybe in my mind I'm thinking I'm MLS ready.
Yeah.
But like you said, it was definitely a blessing in disguise where I can go to Austin and play more games than I probably would have on an MLS team and kind of develop
Right. That's what I was
as a
going to say.
professional.
That's what I was going to say. Imagine, you know, maybe you imagine if you just went to the MLS and then maybe you weren't ready, and then that would have been so hard to take because you would have had to come back down anyway. So maybe it worked out. It worked out well for you.
Yeah, and I definitely didn't see it then, but being in the MLS now and seeing rookies come in and stuff like that, and they're not playing, and kind of that psychological mindset that they have, and
Exactly.
I'm definitely thankful that I was able to take that
for sure.
routine.
For sure. So, how was the kind of experience through the times at Tulsa? Did you expect kind of going into Tulsa that by the end of it you wanted to be a pro? That was, you know, the only thing in mind when you were going to college straight away? That's what you wanted?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to go pro maybe a year or two before I went to college. Like I realized that I wanted to play professional soccer.
Yeah.
I love watching soccer. I love like everything about it. It's, like soccer was my entire life.
All you wanted to do.
Yeah, all I wanted to do. And Tulsa was the closest D1 to my house in Houston because I wanted to stay local.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go to SMU in Dallas.
Yeah.
So like, Tulsa was like the next closest.
Nice.
And the year before I went there, they were ranked pretty high, top 25 majority of the year. And so I thought if I can go to a decent soccer school, like I can play and have a chance to go pro.
Nice. Yeah. How do you because I know, you know, playing in Orlando, you were playing some centre back. They started to move you back positionally, and most of the time, I think you're more of a number 8, maybe a middle of the park, box to box midfielder. In Tulsa, did you play centre mid kind of exclusively your whole career, or did you kind of bounce around there as well?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to get into at Tulsa. My freshman year, I played midfield.
Yeah.
The entire season, and then sophomore year had a lot of injuries, and so the coach approached me and was like, "Look, you're really good on the ball. You're left-footed. Like both of our left backs have been injured, like year-long injuries. What do you think about playing left back?" And at first, I was like, "I don't want to play left back. Like I played midfield. Like I want to get up the field. I'm not playing left back."
Yeah.
And it was kind of down to like I didn't have a choice. Like I'm playing left back, and whether I liked it or not. And then at that point, I had to learn the position because either I'm not playing left back or like I'm not playing at all.
Right. You want to be on the pitch, you know?
Yeah. And so my sophomore, it was hard at first, like playing midfield and then trying to transition and playing defense. I think the hardest part was just, like I'm one-on-one out there by myself with like a winger. So just kind of learning that positionally and being smarter. Yeah. And everything. And I think it helped me more as a midfielder playing out there because I understand positionally like multiple positions now and stuff. And so it's funny because my freshman year was the only time that I played midfield in college. Wow. So like sophomore year I played left back, junior year I played left back and a little bit of center back, and then senior year was center back, left back as well.
Again, stuff that you maybe didn't expect going into college. You know, you're expecting to be a midfielder and then bang, you're playing in defense. But I'm sure loving the game so much and watching the game growing up, a lot of kids nowadays, you know, they don't watch the game too much tactically. They're not as maybe skilled as other players that, you know, in other countries. I spoke about this with a few people that in England, we grow up watching the game, playing the game. So we just tactically kind of know we could maybe slot into a position and slot in a little bit better. But for Americans, it's much tougher because, you know, I want to be like Messi, or I want to play up front, or I want to play like Gerrard in centre midfield. And as soon as they have to move positions, they're, you know, oh my God, what do? I don't know what to do. And they look lost out there. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think, like I played midfield my entire life growing up, and like I never thought about playing another position. Right. But like you said, whenever you watch professional soccer, some of the guys that are playing maybe right or left back, like they didn't start their career there.
No, a lot of them do.
Yeah,
sure.
And like I didn't realize that, but when I realized that at that point, I was like, how are they as professional athletes playing in the best league in the world able to do that? But I'm stubborn, and I don't want to play like a position on my college team.
That's the natural thing that we think about. I remember when I was younger, a coach wanted me to play even different position from forward. They wanted me to play in midfield, and I was like, nah, I can't play midfield.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
mindset should be,
exactly.
sure, let me learn this position so that later on in my career, if it comes to the point where, you know, there could be an injury, a red card, you know, you have to slot in somewhere, you can do it, you know, no problem.
Yeah,
So it's good
absolutely.
to have that mindset, and maybe good that you had that after your freshman year, where now going into the MLS and playing in the USL, you can play multiple positions, because you can still play in midfield, you can play left back, you can play centre back, you played centre back in the MLS.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to play multiple positions to kind of put a cap on it for young players. If you get moved, don't see it as you suck in this position. See it as I can grow more as a player. Do you know what I mean? And it's helped you a lot, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. I think that was the hardest thing when I did move positions
Yeah.
was that psychological thing. Okay, maybe my coach doesn't think I'm good enough in the midfield. That's why he's moving me out there. But I guess changing my mindset and, like you said, realizing that I can be more versatile and play multiple positions, and
Exactly.
that'll help me in my career just
For sure.
was a
And
way to go. Yeah.
exactly. And for coaches, maybe rather than thinking, you know, he doesn't think I'm good in this position, maybe he thinks I'm a versatile guy who knows the game, who he still wants me
Yeah.
on the field, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So let's talk through when you signed professionally at Austin. Firstly, how did it feel to actually become a pro? And two, how was your early career there? And kind of talk about how you progressed into, because I think it was Austin. Did you go to Orlando City from Austin, or was there something in between that I'm missing?
No, I went from the Austin Aztex to Orlando City B.
City B,
The
right.
year
So
after.
talk us
Yeah.
through that kind of journey, those first 2 years as a pro.
Yeah. So before I touch on that, I want to say, because I did get drafted to Kansas City.
Okay.
But this was after I signed with the Aztecs. But my
Okay.
Austin coach was like, I know you want to go MLS, like I'll allow you to go to preseason with them, and if they want to sign you, then like I'll release your contract and everything. So I ended up going to preseason with Kansas City for a week and a half. And then the Austin coach was like, look, we're starting preseason. Are they going to sign you or not? So
Dang, so you had to make a decision.
yeah. So I talked to Peter Vermees, and he was like, look, I like you as a player and everything, but I've only seen you for a week. Like I can't make a decision on that. And so at this point, I was like, do I stay with Kansas City for preseason and
Wow.
risk not having
Nothing
a contract,
guaranteed. Yeah, wow. That's a hard decision.
or go back to Austin and play USL and have a guarantee there? And so I decided to go back to Austin and have that guaranteed contract and play there.
Was that something that, I mean, talk me through your thought process there? Were you thinking, do I risk it because I really want to go to MLS? What was because you must have been, you know, from now, talking to you now to back then, maybe you had a different perspective then as well. Turned out to be the right decision in the end, but
Yeah.
talk to me about how you made that decision.
Yeah, definitely. I was just like, I don't want to leave here. Like, I know I can make this team and all that stuff.
Right.
But I think just having the right people around me and talking with them and just their advice and even the Austin coach, like I have huge respect for him because he was like, this isn't a decision like because like it's for my team and everything. But he's like, I think better for your career. Like when you're coming out of college, you need to play games.
Right.
And he was like, I see players that come out of the draft and everything, they go and they sit the bench and they're not developing and everything. And so I think just having the right people around me helped me make the correct decision.
How important that you had someone like that who actually cared about you as a person rather than seeing you as like a chess piece on a board, you know? So important
absolutely.
to have that with you, and obviously that's what helped you become a pro. It's brilliant. You had that. Awesome.
Yeah.
So talk me through, you went to Austin, you ended up signing there. How was that the first year there, and how did you grow in that first season?
I think it was definitely something to learn from because we were an expansion club and so like everything around the team was, I guess, new, like new team. The team didn't play together before, so everybody was trying to build that chemistry within the first year. There are still some things they're trying to fix out with the training facility and all that stuff. So it was definitely a learning experience. But it was nice having a good core group of guys that were vets in the USL and kind of led the team throughout the year.
And it must have been good that it was somewhat familiar to you. You know, you'd already been there for a while and you kind of knew people at the club, the coach, and it would have been a lot tougher for your first year as a professional to go somewhere brand new. Even though obviously you believed in your ability, it would have been tougher to settle in. So it sounded like a really good fit for your first sort of professional season.
Yeah, it definitely was because I think going to a new team, there's always a time of trying to get your feet under you and everything, and I think that was minimized with having played there like the past 3 years.
Definitely. And what position did you play for Austin for the 3 years?
I played as a number 8. in the
Okay,
midfield.
so there you were a centre midfielder.
Yeah,
Which is what
for
I
the
thought.
entire
So that
year.
was you
Yeah,
were kind of adjusting from left back at Tulsa to centre mid. So
yeah,
again, versatile.
yeah.
Which again we'll talk about later. Served you well when you went to Orlando and New York. How do you feel that there was a difference in PDL to USL and NCAA to USL, and what were those differences? Do you feel like?
Yeah, I think there was a difference between NCAA and PDL because in the NCAA there's a big emphasis on like fitness
Yeah,
and all that stuff, and so there was just a lot quicker in that aspect,
yeah,
but not so much like technical. But when I did play PDL over the summer, there's a lot of international players playing there and aspiring pros, and so there's the technical, I guess, aspect of the game was a
yeah.
lot
Technical.
different in PDL. Yeah,
And for
and
those
then
of you guys that don't know what the PDL is, USL League 2 now, so they've changed the name of it, but basically it's the premier development league for guys that are looking to go from college to pro, and a really, really, really good league. A lot of many PDL players have gone all the way to MLS. And what about from PDL to
PDL to
USL?
USL.
Was it back to more physical versus technical, or how did you find that transition?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think it
Yeah,
was both a lot quicker and then a lot more physical and then a lot more technical as well. Just having to think quicker as well. And I think
definitely.
that's the I guess difference between like the PDL, USL, and then MLS as well. Like because when you get to that level, the quality is very minimal between the players and stuff. So just being
Right.
able to
Yeah.
think quicker is probably the difference. And
Those little things are, and I noticed that because obviously I didn't play professionally, but even playing pickup with a bunch of the guys, like I know you played with Sasha and those guys, and a bunch of them came out and played, and I noticed that it's not that there is like there's something that stands out, but guys that are playing in the MLS, they just don't make mistakes. There's no like short passes are all crisp. They're not taking bad touches. They're communicating so well, and I'm just like, that's what the MLS is. There's just less mistakes, and the guys are in peak condition.
and I think that comes from just the training mindset because
definitely.
they're focused 100% during training, and maybe with the USL team they're not as much, and so you can kind of see that during the games. But
Yeah,
being
they
that
take it serious, it's their life and their livelihood. So they're every single day they're even playing pickup, those guys are on it, They don't want to make errors. They're on you if you make a mistake. And I love that, and I think that's what separates the levels, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's good that you've played all of them as well, so you can kind of give a really good kind of analogy of what it's like to play in all the leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So you spent 1 year at Aztex, is that right?
Yeah.
And then you talk me through how kind of Orlando came about.
So it's funny, I actually signed a 2-year contract at Austin.
Okay.
The middle of the first season, there was like a huge storm that hit Austin.
Oh.
Our home stadium got like flooded. The turf had to get like redone. Yeah.
Wow.
And so we ended up playing at our training facility for like the remainder of the first season, and then so like they had to try to find a stadium for the next year, or just like sit a season out, and so they couldn't do that, and that's why they ended up just releasing contracts and stuff, and that's why
they must have lost.
And then so after that, then Orlando City B reached out, and Anthony Pulis was like, I've seen you at Austin and all this stuff, and so he was interested in me coming to OCB.
And that was a brand new franchise, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was going to be a first year that they were going to be in the USL.
So that was so obviously that was another big change for you. You're still how old at this point? 22, 20?
Yeah, I think 21, 22.
So pretty young. And then you go to Orlando C, which is still in the USL, right?
Yeah.
I know that was a great option for you, but was your thought process, this is actually an MLS club, I've got a chance of progressing at this club from B to the main team?
Yeah, I think that was definitely my mindset. Like, I'm going to be around the MLS team. Like, the MLS coaches are going to be watching a lot of it. So I was like, this is definitely an opportunity. That I can make that next jump into the MLS.
Awesome. And how was the whole move there, going from Austin to Orlando, settling into, because this was probably your first time actually going to a club where maybe you didn't know too many people, and it would have been the first time you had to experience that. How was it settling in and dealing with something that was new to you?
Yeah, I think what helped was my roommate that I had in Austin, Mike Ambrose.
Yeah.
We both went at the same time.
Oh, so wow, that must have been so helpful for you.
Yeah, so at least knowing one familiar face was definitely easier whenever we made the move.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, but then like just selling into another team, that was definitely something that I had to, I guess, deal with for the first couple of weeks. But um, I mean, it's a part of like your career as a professional athlete, and just being able
It's all
to
a
do
part.
that, and yeah, and try to reduce the time that takes to settle in and
Yeah,
play well.
definitely. So talk me through that the first season there, and kind of how it all transpired to the point where um, the main Orlando team actually acquired your rights and signed you as an MLS player, which was your first
Yeah.
MLS contract. So just talk through how that all went and how it felt to actually become an MLS player in the end.
Okay. Yeah. So it's funny because I started in OCB. I think
Yeah.
the first 2 games. So I think the first game, I got a red card.
No way.
Yeah, the first
Really?
it was either the first or the second game I got a red card.
For what?
And then I sat. It was 2 yellow cards. It
Oh,
was
okay.
like I shouldn't have gotten a red card,
That
but
happens though.
yeah, it does happen. And then so I sat the next game out, and then the first game I got back, I got another red card, and so I'm like, this is
No
a
way.
terrible start to like a new team, yeah, with OCB. And so like my mind was like gone at that point. I was like,
Right.
I'm not going to be able to settle into this team, like,
Jeez.
and all that stuff. But that second red card ended up getting rescinded, so I was able to
Okay.
like play the next game,
Was it
which is
should it have been
nice.
rescinded? What was that one for?
Yeah, that was. I think it was there was like the sideboards and the ball was going out and the we just like bumped shoulder to shoulder and the guy like
Oh, and he went in.
slammed into the sideboard, and so they thought it was like worse than what it was.
Happens.
But so that's how it started. A couple of us were able to train with the MLS team
Right.
maybe like once or twice a week. And so that was definitely an opportunity that like I didn't have at Austin, and
Right.
that I assume what was going to happen being under like an MLS club.
Yeah.
And so just training with the MLS team once or twice a week. And whenever there was like Open Cup games, a couple of us got called up to the MLS team to either be on the bench or like play or whatever.
And was it pretty early that you were one of the boys that was being basically looked at and considered by the main team?
Yeah, I think there was like 4 or 5 of us that would like regularly train with the first team at the beginning of the season.
That must have been a good kind of, I'm on the right path here. And you got to think this is sort of 2 or a year and a half on from when you were at Sporting Kansas City. So did you feel like in your mind that, I'm going to prove to them, or I'm going to prove that, I am good enough, or maybe to yourself even more, that you were going to prove that you were of that level to play in the MLS? Did you feel that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, I think the biggest thing was proving to myself.
Yeah, sure.
that I was good enough, because I think growing up and like playing in college, like I always thought I was good enough to play and all that stuff, and then just having, I guess, the opportunity like to train with the MLS team, like I can show now to like MLS
I am good enough,
coaches and stuff that I am good enough to.
And you're at a club which gives you the pathway, which is huge as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how it works out. So, was there anything else that kind of went on in that year at Orlando City where it kind of, you feel like you really did progress, and then those guys were taking more notice of you? Was there any point in the season where you were like, yeah, I've done really well here, I'm hoping that I'm going to get signed properly by the MLS team?
Yeah, I think what helped was just like playing games with OCB and just playing in the midfield position and just getting comfortable.
Because you were playing center mid, right?
Yeah, I was playing center mid.
Right.
Yeah, and so just playing there.
You want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. But then when I did train with the MLS team, just going out there and not having that mindset of like don't mess up, more of just going out there and like showing what I can do. And I think
that's
that mindset.
That's a really good thing to touch on there, because
a
lot of players that are going to trials or going to open days at clubs, they're thinking, don't make a mistake. And I always say that go out there and just enjoy it. Like believe in yourself, and know that even if you don't have that kind of confidence, you've got to go out there and fake it like you do. Because if you go out there without, like you said, if you go out there without the confidence, then it's only going to detrimentally affect you. So you just got to go out there with that kind of mindset. You were just like, I'm going to show them what I can do.
Yeah, exactly. And then when that kind of mindset changed, then got called into like Open Cup games, and then like played Open Cup games. And I remember it was either the first or second Open Cup game that we played against Fort Lauderdale. I started that game, and then like played really well that game, and then started training with the MLS team like regularly again and stuff. And then I think at that moment I was like, okay,
I'm ready.
when are they going to sign me? That's what I was thinking. Right. Like I'm ready to play MLS.
But you had to, like we always say, it's one thing getting a foot in the door. It's one thing being given the opportunity, but once you get it, you got to take it with both hands. It sounds like you did that.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
Basically putting pressure on them to be like, look, I'm ready. You put me in, and I've performed. What's up, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think the biggest takeaway from that is like, I think we're all going to get an opportunity at one point.
Yeah.
So I think it's just being prepared for whenever the opportunity comes, and then take the opportunity.
Definitely, which is what you did. So then that happened. You played in the Open Cup. You're still doing well with B. How did it kind of come to pass?
Progression there.
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
They
so after, I'm not sure what game it was, but we came into the facility, like they all sat us down and they said that Adrian Heath got fired.
Oh yeah.
And so and so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, this was a coach that believed in me and like brought me up to MLS, and now he's gone.
Dang.
Yeah. So like, where do I start from there?
Yeah.
And then so they signed Jason Kreis as a new coach, and we had one friendly against Stoke City, I think.
Nice.
And so like
did you play?
It was, yeah, I played that game.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was a couple of us that got called up from the USL team again, and played in that game. And then got a lot of good compliments from that game and everything, and came in the next morning. No, so we had the USL game the following weekend.
Okay.
Came in the next morning. Anthony Pulis liked to have film with us, like go over with us individually and all stuff. And so he called me and he was like, hey, just come to the office like whenever you have time. And so like after lunch, I went to his office and everything.
What were you thinking when he said that? Were you thinking, oh,
I wasn't thinking anything. I was just like, no,
sure.
I was like, we're going to go over film.
Yeah.
And so that was in my mind. And then walked back to the offices. The MLS coaches' offices are back there as well. The GM was sitting in there, like all the coaches and everything. And then he was like, just wait out here for a minute. And then so like I went out there. I get a call from my agent. And then I was like, this is like weird or whatever. I couldn't answer it because like I get called in by Jason and everything. And so I sit down, and then he just told me, he was like, hey, we would like to sign you to the MLS team. And then so I'm like, don't know what to say, super excited.
To hear him say that, what was that like? How was you? Were you like, wow, like this is it, everything I've worked for, I'm there. Was that what it was like?
No, yeah, definitely for sure. Like all my life not all my life, but like I wanted to be a professional athlete. I wanted to play in the top league in MLS.
For sure.
And now like I got the opportunity to do that. So like I was super excited, didn't know what to say and all that stuff. And
where do I sign?
I was just like speechless. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was the process that I was able to play MLS on that.
So it all culminated there. Then you spend how many years in the actual MLS setup at Orlando, and we can also talk about how you had to play centre back for them in the MLS, which is something that must have been new for another new position. How was it? Let's firstly touch on that. How was it adapting to playing a new position that you hadn't really played before in the highest league in America, playing against like Zlatan and all those guys? It must have been nuts.
I think definitely playing at Tulsa helped with me being a little bit comfortable. I like to think I'm comfortable with the ball, like in possession, and that's what we played in Orlando, and so that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence there. And I think going into games, like I had mentioned before, like being prepared. Like I wasn't nervous, like I was ready for this moment, and just having that preparation and just being ready is what helped me whenever I played.
Was there any like veterans on the team, like defenders that had always been defenders, that you did you go to them for advice and ask them questions about things you could do? Was there anyone in particular that kind of helped you settle into that new role?
Yeah, we had Jonathan Spector on the team, the national player. Yeah. And he's probably the best center back that was at Orlando.
Wasn't he at Man United? He came through at Man United.
Yeah.
So
he was
big
at Man
time.
United. Yeah, so he was super knowledgeable about the game, a bunch of experience, and so whenever I had the opportunity to play back there, like he would always be coaching me about positioning and all that stuff, and like what to look out for and everything. And so like being under him was definitely a great experience.
Awesome, man. So you came in and you ended up playing in that position. And how was actually playing in the full main team in the MLS? Again, you say like the difference is obviously you have to think quicker, less time on the ball, less mistakes. Yeah. Did you go into those games with any kind of pressure, or again, was your mindset still, I'm ready to perform and I'm ready to do well? Of course, I'm sure you had butterflies some games, naturally. How do you feel like you settled into that? Going from, D1, you've played in the USL, and then you've gone USL with a different team, maybe a better team, and then you've gone up to the MLS. How was it actually reaching the top level, and how did you adapt on the pitch?
Yeah, definitely my first few years in MLS, like before games, I would always get butterflies and be nervous and stuff. And
more fans, and more it
yeah,
matters
and
more.
yeah, exactly. And like I think just settling in first few passes of the game, or like making a tackle, or just doing that and just like being focused on the game is kind of what helped me settle in and not really worry about like the other things about me being in MLS. Like that's
Yeah,
all I wanted to do and just play the game.
right. And I was
Yeah.
thinking that, there was other conversations I've had where, no matter what level you're playing, this is why you play the game. This is what you've trained for your whole life. This is what you want to do. You want to go and perform at that level. I just couldn't imagine actually being there, walking out the tunnel, you're looking across and you've got guys that, used to watch on TV.
Yeah.
It must have been quite surreal for you, but something that, we'd all love to do, of course. A dream come true, really.
Yeah.
So now talk me through how leaving Orlando came about and how NYCFC sort of came into the picture after, because you're at Orlando for 2 years, right? 2 seasons in the main team.
Yeah, 2.5, or technically 3 years because I signed
That's
like at
right.
the end of my first year.
So almost 3 years. How did the whole leaving Orlando come about and the transition to NYCFC? How did that all transpire?
Yeah. So at Orlando, I didn't really play that much. Like even though I signed with the first team, I played still majority of the games with the USL team.
Right. You're still like a bit part player for them.
Yeah. And so that was tough. Like I didn't make a lot of 18s. And so the end of the last year I was there, we had end of the year meetings, and then they were just like, look, we're not gonna pick up your option, and all this stuff. And
so
then,
how was that?
from there,
how was that? Because you went from them making your dream come true, signing your first MLS contract, and then they've not picked up your option. So how was that to deal with mentally? Was it something you were expecting?
actually no. Like I thought I was gonna get my last option picked up and
right
and be able to play and like the next season and everything. And I think it was tough at first because they were the first team that brought me into the MLS, and so I was like super excited to continue my career there and everything, and just the unknown of the off season. Like I'm in the MLS.
But it shows you what a brutal sport it is. It's all business. It's not anything personal. It's tough to understand how you can go from signing an MLS contract to not having your option picked up at a year and a half, 2 years later. That's the reality of professional football. So how did you doubt yourself? Were you thinking, oh, what if I don't get signed? Did you have those thoughts, or were you just like, okay, I've got to deal with this and just find another club? I'm still confident in myself.
No, I think there was definitely a time of doubt in there. Like,
for sure,
I didn't play that many minutes on an MLS team that didn't make the playoffs. Like, how are other MLS teams going to look at me and think like that I'm a value to them as a player? Yeah, and so just having that doubt definitely creeped in. And then it was just like during the off season, I can only do what I can control and just work hard during the off season and prepare myself for the upcoming season, whether it's the USL or MLS.
Which is actually the most important thing, and I talk about that all the time. You can't concentrate on things that you have no control of. You don't have any control over what length of contract you get or what this coach thinks of you or anything else. All you can concentrate on is being the best player you can be, being mentally strong, having that belief, and working hard every day to sort of improve.
For sure.
So you obviously had that mindset, and so talk to me about kind of in between Orlando to NYCFC picking up your option, which is a good club.
It was interesting. Like I just was working towards something that like I didn't know was going to happen at this point. Because before I would always have a team like the following season. So I was like in the off season working hard to like for sure team. And now,
so this is another thing that you hadn't experienced before.
Yeah, for sure. Like I didn't know a team that I was going to. And so I was kind of just making sure that I was prepared for whatever was going to happen next. Yeah. And so that's kind of what my off season was like, just working out, trying to play pickup as much as I can, everything. And then the call from my agent came in saying that New York City was potentially interested in trading for me. And once I heard that, I was super excited.
Yeah, you must have been like, oh.
Like what a relief. Yeah.
Yeah,
honestly.
Relief. Yeah.
And I think what was super exciting about that is just the coach that we had at the time, Dominic Torrent. He was the longtime assistant to Pep Guardiola. And
Yeah.
like I just finished reading Pep's book that he had, and like after that, just being like, this is the guy that I wanted to play under, and now I have the opportunity to learn
Wow.
so much from him.
So talk to me about kind of the coaches you've had. How did they vary in playing styles, and how was it playing under him, who has, you know, a mentality and kind of a philosophy like Pep, where it's beautiful football, you know, the football that we love to watch. How was it to adapt to his coaching style? And was it different for you? Did he want you to play a different way? What was his like when you came in? What did he say to you, and how did he kind of integrate you?
Yeah, he I think the reason they traded for me was when I played against New York City when I was with Orlando. I played center back, and I was just really good on the ball. Played really well that game. Probably one of the best games I had at Orlando. Which is crazy because I think I only played 2 or 3 games that year, and one
But
game
there
that
you
I
go,
had
though.
was able to.
That's another important point. Every time you play, you're in the shop window.
Yeah.
You could have played a preseason game against Stoke, and they might have liked you. So
Yeah.
again, everywhere you're playing, whether it's in the MLS or in NCAA or wherever you're playing, even if you're playing pickup,
Yeah.
you've got to
Exactly.
play the best of your ability, and then
You got to
got
play
picked
like
up because
someone's
of that.
always watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he saw
Yeah.
you playing, and he liked the way you played, and that's ultimately
Yeah.
how you got signed by New York City, which is a crazy story.
Yeah. And so coming in, I knew that he wanted to play possession style and everything, and beautiful soccer, like you said, and that's, I guess, like how I like to play. And so I thought I was going to fit right in and
So you're
just
stoked.
play in the
You're
system
like,
super excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how you've kind of you go to New York. You're ready. It's a new club, new season, new journey, new path, if you like, a new start for you. How was it kind of integrating into the team, and how was it actually putting their jersey on it and, you know, playing MLS games for New York? Was it different to Orlando? Did you feel like you'd grown a bit more and became stronger because of obviously being released, if you like, by them?
Yeah, it definitely made me stronger. I think this was the first transition I had to make where I didn't know anybody at the new club.
Right.
So this was definitely a new start for me. A much bigger city, and all that stuff, and having to.
And you play in Yankee Stadium, which is like like massive.
And having to transition to that.
Yeah.
But I definitely give thanks to like the coaching staff, the club, the players, and everything. Like they're open to me, like coming in, and I'm just super grateful for that. So it was an easy transition in that way because of the players that they had on the team.
Yeah. Was there any guys where you kind of walked in there and you were like, wow, you know, I played against that guy? And well, someone actually asked, so let's ask this. Were there any players when you were playing in MLS games where you were sort of looking over there like, that's whoever? Was there any guys
like playing with them or playing against them?
With or against? Yeah, was there?
Because I think that happened to me in Orlando when I saw Kaká for the first time when I was in the training facility.
Yeah.
Like just walking on the hallways, I was like, this guy won the Ballon d'Or. Like,
yeah, man. That guy was
a
top dog for a long time.
Yeah.
Real Madrid and AC Milan.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, but I like to get into that a little bit because like he's at that level for a reason. Like whenever I would come into the training facility, he'd be in the gym stretching or working on whatever.
He was doing
every morning that he would come in. He'd be the first one in the facility and doing like whatever he had to do, core work, stretching, like everything, just to make sure his body was like prepared for that.
Well, that shows you, doesn't it? You know, he's not there by fluke. That guy worked super hard to get there, and that was even, you know, if you talk, that was in kind of the twilight of his career.
Yeah,
still
for
doing
sure.
That.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I love hearing your story. Last little bit of the kind of questions I have for you, and then we'll open it up to the kids and everyone else watching. Last year you became an international player, so representing Belize. So how was it?
Yeah.
Again, that must have been such a proud moment for you to do that. And was that something you were expecting? And how was that? You know, putting on the Belize jersey and becoming an international football player, which is something that not many pros get to do.
Yeah. No, I'm super thankful for that. I actually didn't have my Belize citizenship until last year.
Okay.
And so when I did get that, that's when they were able to like reach out and be like, hey, we would love for you to come play for our country, like play for our country. And after I heard that, I was like, I have the opportunity to like represent a country, and I was just super excited. And yeah, it was definitely an experience that I'll remember forever.
For sure, man. I bet. Okay, last one from me. If you could kind of encapsulate your whole journey what advice from your own story and things that you've been through would you give to somebody that's trying to reach the MLS or, reach the USL or get a professional contract? What would you say to them?
I have two things. The first one is you have to believe in yourself. There's going to be so many people that don't believe in you. Even people close to you aren't going to believe in you.
Yeah.
So like you have to be the person that's going to believe in yourself.
For sure.
And the second thing is like don't stop like working.
Always.
Like don't quit. Like you're always going to face adversity. Like you're always going to face something that is potentially going to get in the way of you achieving whatever you want to achieve. But just being able to continue to work and show up every day is probably what the advice that I give to
100%,
whoever's aspiring to be a footballer.
It's great advice, and it's something that is just the players can take on board today and start today. It's brilliant.
Yeah, for sure. Because I've seen super talented guys come in the league, and their mindset's not there. Like they don't start believing or they don't continue to believe in themselves when they're not playing everything. And after the first year, they're done for. And I've seen guys come in and just put their head down and work and continue to work, and they have opportunities, and they're still in MLS.
Guys like yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome, man. Right, what we'll do is we'll open up the floor. There's a few questions that I've got. I can click a question box right here, but if you want to swipe up through the comments that will be on the screen tone, see if you can find any that you want to answer. And while you do that, I'll look for one right here.
Okay.
Let me see.
There's one right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Question: what do you suggest for going pro, college soccer, or academy and clubs?
Oh, tough question.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I don't know if you're gonna like my answer or not, but it depends on the player. Like I know there's some people that go pro through college, and that's like the pathway for them, and then there's some people that skip college and play like academy and then USL. And then go pro that way. So I think it's whatever pathway, you decide on going. I think they're equally the same in terms of if you play well, someone's going to see you.
For sure, I agree with you. Here's one that someone asked yesterday: who's the best player that you've played with, and the best player that you've faced? There's got to be some names in there.
The best player I've played with is Kaká.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Even in training, like not many people see it, but he would just easily go by players in training and stuff like that. And I'm looking at him, like you said, he's towards the end of his career at this point. But like I can't imagine what he was like, whenever he was like younger and actually doing that. So Kaká was definitely him. Played against would probably be, I'd probably say Giovinco.
I was going to say him, actually. I was just going to say, I thought you would say like Zlatan or like David Villa, someone like that. But Giovinco, I love Giovinco. What a player.
Yeah.
For someone that's so small.
Him. Yeah.
How was
he was so hard to defend. He's so shifty and like crafty and like so he it's a disappointment that he left the league. But he's probably the best player that I played against.
You got to think that guy is unbelievable. Some of those couple of years he had at Toronto where he was banging in free kicks and scoring all types of goals, right foot, left foot. Yeah, I love him. Great player. That's awesome, man. Let's find a couple more. There's a lot of questions here. We got about 10 minutes, so we can get through them. Let me just find a couple.
Cool. There's another one that it says, what diet do you take and what should we eat?
That's okay.
To gain muscle. Yeah, so I think that's a big one that not many people realize is kind of like off the field things that we have to do as professional athletes, or like even aspiring professional athletes, like taking care of our body, whether it's getting ice baths after training, after games, stretching, like eating, getting proper sleep, like that, all of that. What Dome call was like invisible training.
Right.
He said whatever you can do, during training, but like the most important is recovering for the next training session.
Basically, so I think, anything you can do to gain an extra percentage on the pitch, you want to do it. Because at that level, the higher the levels you go, and at any level, if you can get a couple of percent better than someone else by eating something, then you should be taking every single thing you can.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say, it's just a little percent difference. Yeah. Because everyone at that level, like I said before, is very similar, like talent wise. Yeah. But it's just like those little separation that you have to make between the guys in your locker room, guys in the other team, like that could keep you at that level.
Yeah, like you talk about Kaká being able to do it for 20 years because he took care of his body to the extreme. And
Yeah.
so it's not being a professional is not just being a professional on the pitch; it's having a professional lifestyle and making those sacrifices.
Absolutely. I do have another one. This is a great question.
Okay,
It says, how can you improve your decision making on the field,
good.
playing better actually, and like what drill would be good? I think maybe understanding tactically, like
Huge.
your formation. So like a big thing that I learned from Dome was the drills that we did in training and how it related to like game situations. So we do a lot of possession drills during training, and like he would stop the drills and then he would tell us like, okay, this is going to be the center back, this is like the midfield, so like this is the position you're going to be in, this guy has this option, this guy has this option. Like you should know whenever you're playing, you don't even have to see your player over there, but you know he's standing over there because that's how like and stuff. So like just being able to know like where your teammates are on the field kind of help like you think quicker and play.
So effectively, it's by training in the same situations you're going to be in the games. And that's all the training I'm doing is similar in any environment. It's like if you get the ball here, you've got to know that you're going to have pressure coming from here. You're going to have a teammate out there, and knowing that before you receive the ball, then you can move it quickly and be in the right motion. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, just knowing what you're going to do.
Exactly. And it's good to hear that even MLS top level coaches are coaching the same things, because it's so important just to understand where you are on the field and the decisions that you can make based on where you stand in training. Because once you're working on that in training, as soon as you get onto the field, you feel like more comfortable. I've been here before. This is what we've worked on, and I'm confident doing this.
Exactly. And that's what training is for, is like to get you prepared for like those same situations.
If it's not relevant to the game, then why are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Right, let's see if there's any more. There's a bunch of good questions here. Here's an interesting question. I don't know if you have an answer for this, but we'll try it. Who is someone in the locker room who's very outspoken, but the fans may not know?
Very outspoken.
I don't know. That's one of them media trained questions where you got to come up with some good answer.
Yeah, outspoken. I'm trying to think, because a lot of the outspoken people in the locker room are outspoken, like
wherever
in public. So
that's
a good question.
That's a hard.
I think the first one that comes to mind is Mata. Mata. Like, I mean, he's definitely outspoken, like in person and everything, but just in the locker room, he's like always joking around and he's always having a good time and stuff. And I think that's probably one of the things I miss most about being in quarantine. It's just like being around the guys in the locker room and enjoying that chatter and all that stuff.
Here's another good question. What mistake do you think most current pros make?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a great, hard, tough question, but a good question.
Yeah. What's the can you ask the question again?
Hold on, I'll find it. What mistake do you think most current pros make?
Ooh.
Is there any mistake that glares out to you, or is there any?
I would probably say taking for granted their spot on the team.
Yeah.
It's probably the number one mistake.
For sure.
Because I think I've seen it at a couple of the clubs that I've been at, that guys come in and they're not kind of taking care of their bodies. Like they're not giving their all in training and stuff. And I know there's plenty of people that would love to trade positions with them and everything. And
you know that the most.
Yeah. And I think just not taking that for granted. Like I've seen a lot of pros take that for granted.
The professionalism.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There's a couple more here. Do a couple more questions.
Cool.
Let's see if I can find any more. A lot of love for Tony. Great guy, amazing person. Guillermo. I think that's someone that was at Orlando.
Yeah. There's a question here about injuries, or a hamstring injury, and I'd like to touch on that because
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
The injuries that I had in my career have just been hamstrings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what helped was there's a strength coach that came in Orlando, and he was specifically like trained for hamstring injuries and everything. And so
really?
He came in. Yeah, so he came in and he changed like the trajectory of my career because other guys ended up getting injured like during the season. So I was able to like play that season, and that's kind of what helped me continue on in my career. But hamstring injuries, to overcome them, I would suggest sprinting, because sprinting helps with the strengthen the muscle, and then just doing like RDLs and those kind of exercises. So those will
working
definitely
on it
help him.
specifically in the gym.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
Here's another good one. What is your favorite part of playing in the MLS?
Ooh, favorite part about playing MLS. I think just walking out onto the field in a stadium filled with people
Yeah, that's
that
got to
are
be.
just like
That's got to be
rooting
amazing.
for you.
Yeah.
And I know that could be for like other leagues and everything, but just being in the MLS and just having that support, I guess,
Yeah, man.
is probably the best thing playing in MLS.
That's awesome. I'll see if you can find one more, man, and then we'll be there.
Okay.
See if I've got one. Some really good questions.
Yeah.
There's one there. Advice for an 8-year-old. And someone said, yo, watching the games live is an amazing experience. Yeah, imagine walking out there.
I know. Let's see.
Take your time. We've got a few minutes, so we're all good. Instagram boots you off after an hour, so we've got 9 minutes, so you got plenty.
Oh, okay.
Someone else said I only get hamstring injuries.
That's the most prevalent injury in soccer.
Yeah. There's some Belize flags flying up.
Yeah, those are my international teammates.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one.
There's another good one here. You go first, and then I'll ask you one more. I found
It's how did Dome make you feel valued even if you didn't play every week?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to him as a great coach, and why we did so well last season was because he made everybody on the roster feel like they were a part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And I think at some other clubs, coaches kind of focus on the starters or maybe the guys that come off the bench instead of the entire
And
squad.
maybe Dome kind of adopted that from Pep, because Pep's the same. Because imagine coaching all those world-class players, and you've all got to be ready, whether you're playing a minute or you need the whole squad. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and I think to answer the question is every week during training, whenever he had like video film and everything, he would emphasize it. He was like, you don't know when you're going to play.
Yeah.
Like you could be sitting in the stands one weekend for the game, not making the 18, and then the next weekend I could want you to start.
Because he recognizes how important it is, and the MLS is such a rigorous schedule as well.
Yeah.
You're going to have injuries. You're going to have guys go down. You need the whole squad. Yeah, that's really good.
And what helped was like he didn't just say that and then not do it. Like there were some times when a guy would be in the like press boxes, not in the 18 one weekend, and then the next weekend he's starting, and then he plays for 3-4 games, like starts those games and everything. And so that was definitely how he made everyone feel valued on the team.
That's awesome, man. All right, man, we'll finish it there. I appreciate your time, Tony.
Cool.
Thanks so much for coming on, man. I enjoyed speaking to you. It's really
no problem. Thanks for having me.
It's good to hear your story, how there was a lot of ups and downs, and it wasn't just an easy path for you to get to the MLS.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate being on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I wish you the best, and hopefully you guys can get back to training soon. And when there's a game here, I'll come and watch a game, and we'll get together, man.
Yeah, sounds good. If I'm ever in California, I'll let you know.
Yeah, man. All right, take care, Tony. God bless.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one. God bless.
Bye.